Hi, and welcome back to our short videos on business studies. My name is Shireen, and we are still in Chapter 2, Business Structure. If you have been following us this far, thank you very, very much. I hope you have been able to, follow the videos and pick up some important points to prepare for your coming exams. Now, today we will look at Chapter 2.2, specifically on the different structures of businesses within the private sector. Now, let's move on. Now, in the private sector, there are various setups that an entrepreneur can choose. Now, for example, you can start a business as any other businesses do from the beginning, which is a sole trader business, or with a partner called partnerships, or with limited companies. So today we will look at the difference between the three types of structure, and if you are about to open your own business, perhaps then you could decide better on which structure would be most suitable for you. Now, let's talk about a sole trader. So a sole trader is the most easiest form to set up because, well, if you are an entrepreneur starting up on your own for the first time with limited cash, and you do not maybe have enough people to employ or money to employ them, then running a sole trading or a sole proprietorship would be something easy for you to do. Now, what could be the limitations in running a sole trader business? Of course, as mentioned earlier, you would run the business based on how much you could spend. So you would use your savings, and if you could get a loan from the bank, then you may be able to expend it a little. But as a sole trader business, you will need to actually prove to the bank that you have a good track record in terms of running your business. So it may be a challenge. But on the good side, since you don't have anyone to share your profits with, you can keep everything. But on the flip side, if there are losses, if there are debts to pay, and you're not making enough sales for the month, then you would need to fork out your own money or find ways to actually pay your debts. So you would have to bear all losses on your own. So if you want to expand your business, though, it may be a bit of a challenge unless you think of, hey, maybe I should get a friend to help me run this business. So it will no longer be a sole trader business, but it may move to something else called a partnership. Let's talk about partnership in the next slide. Now, with a partnership, as you can see in this pretty picture of this couple, it will be, you can actually start a partnership between two or more than two people for that matter. And of course, in situations of a partnership, people normally form partnerships to be able to fork in more cash. So if one partner puts 5,000 ringgit or $5,000, then you have two people putting up the same amount. That will be a higher capital for you to spend on different parts of the business, hiring people, buying equipment if you need to, or renting a bigger office space. Now, although this is beneficial with additional capital, with partners, there are differences in terms of opinions, skills, which could be a leverage and could be a disadvantage, especially if you come to a disagreement between partners on deciding what or where should the business head. Of course, in terms of profits, you no longer get all the profits because you will need to distribute them equally or based on the percentage that all partners agree, perhaps in terms of how much they have invested. So your profits will no longer be yours alone to enjoy. While you have partners to help you with the workload of the business, the segregation of tasks, the expertise of different skills, it would help the business and help you in terms of managing everything that you used to do by yourself. Now, one important point to note about a sole trader and a partnership is that both these structures face unlimited liability and there is no continuity. What does this mean? When one faces unlimited liability, this means they would have to basically find ways and means, or perhaps even sell their own personal possessions in order to pay the debts that they incur. At the same time, if one partner dies or the sole trader dies or move on, there is no continuation to the business. Therefore, it ceased to exist, and maybe a new business needs to be established without any continuation to the previous one. Now, to overcome the limitations of a sole trader and a partnership, entrepreneurs may consider opening up a limited company, which is divided into two, either a private limited company or a public limited company. But before we go into that, let's talk about limited companies and what are the criteria of a limited, or the special features of a limited company. Now, in contrast to partnerships and sole traders, where they do not have continuity with, and they also face unlimited liability, with a limited company you face limited liability, which basically means if you were to invest a certain amount into the business, the amount that you lose is the amount that you invest in the business and not the total wealth gain from the overall business. Right. At the same time, there is continuation, which means you would be able to pass on the business to somebody else in the company or through a family member to ensure that it continues running. Thirdly, with limited companies, which is another feature where we talk about legal personality. All right. Essentially, business owners in limited companies enjoy a separate legal identity, right? What this basically means is the business by itself is accountable to law, but not the owner himself. So this means if there's any issues concerning lawsuits that is made against the business is affected in the sense of the company is affected, but the owner or the person that is attached to the business is not affected. Whereas if the business is ordered to close by the court, then the owner can go on to establish a new business with a different company name by himself without any effect. Therefore, as you can see, there's a vast difference between different structures in terms of capital, in terms of security, in terms of continuity, and I would advise you to continue reading on your own in terms of what is a private limited company versus a public limited company, the benefits, the disadvantages, as these are the common questions being asked in exams, and well, I hope you'll be able to answer them on your own. So what are the important terms that you should know at the end of the topic on business structure? You should know about sole trader, partnership, what limited companies are, or basically their criteria or features such as a separate legal personality, continuity, unlimited liability, limited liabilities for limited companies, and unlimited liabilities for sole traders and partnerships. And additionally to this, if you notice if it's in green, it's because I need you to read this on your own. What are the differences between private limited company and public limited company? So basically these are the important terms that you should be able to grasp for your part of your revision for the coming exam. As usual, if you prefer to read, then do visit my blog for more information, and just to have a rewind of all the topics that we have covered, please subscribe to this channel and feel free to browse through all the other videos. And there's also a playlist on examination skills for you to look at. I'm slowly but surely uploading more videos on that area. Till then, have a pleasant day ahead.